Hey everyone, it is Larry here at LC Model Shipbuilding, and this episode we will be doing the Forecastle or Forecastle, depending on how you pronounce it, but I go Forecastle. Anyway, a lot of little detail pieces on this. I do end up weathering it towards the end, and yeah, basically it's pretty straightforward. A lot of 3D parts and a lot of photo etch going on in this episode, so that's basically what this one will entail. It's going to be a two-part series again, kind of like the poop deck was, but the second part should be a little bit shorter. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are with the bow, forecastle, whatever you want to call it, getting ready to glue the deck down. I did fill in the holes where the winches would have originally gone on the kit, and we're going to glue that down. Now you can also see I have a bunch of my China 3D parts here that I'm getting ready to paint. So each of these are different colors. So we got our front anchor crane, we got our capstans, we got our bollards, we got our little shack room thing that goes right here, and we got our main hatch, and then we got our winches. So I'm going to spray these all up, these being white, these being green, this being white, and then we're going to start to basically assemble this section of the build. So kind of a big step to be ready to move off of the stern for now, but we will come back to that once the 3D benches get here. So first up, I'm just kind of breaking away the two pieces of crane. So they send you two, at least I have two. So that I can paint. And then I'll trim this up better with the electric hot knife after a bit here. So, and these are fairly flexible, so it's not like we're dealing with some of the other more brittle pieces. So I'm going to get some paint mixed up and go ahead and get ready to start this. I'm also going to go ahead and put my glue down. So that is essentially the exact same thing that we've done on previous videos for previous parts of the build. Just putting the glue down on it. I'm going to break that away. And that might have been too much, but we'll find out here in a minute. And I just want to look, yep, that's hollow on the inside. I just want to make sure the race section there could stay. Now, some of these holes, it does say to fill them on the instruction sheet. I will probably end up actually filling them from underneath, so I'm not that worried about them still having the holes there right now. And actually, I kind of prefer the holes to be there just in case I do need them. That's one less thing I will have to drill later. A little bit too much glue, but not too crazy. So let me just get a paper towel here to kind of wipe that up. And I do know I'm probably going to have to build up the underneath of the main cargo hatch just a little bit with some styrene, but we'll get to that once I see how much space I'm going to need. Now, you want to have enough glue for this to stick well, but not too much that it gets all goopy underneath, because that will not help either. But that should be good. So, we're going to go ahead and get this glued down, and then we're going to clamp it with some plastic clamps and popsicle sticks, and let it sit while some other paint dries. Okay, and I did test fit it before. I know there has been, well, at least I know one video I watched, which was Midwest Model Shop. He had some issues with it not centering out. Mine does not appear to be giving any issue, so that's good. I'm happy to see that. But yeah, I think we're pretty decent here. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp it and let it sit while I do some painting, and then we'll come back and basically check out how that looks and start putting some minor assembly together. This one does have actually quite a bit of assembly that happens, because we got our breakwater or breakwater, whatever you want to call it, right there. There's a lot of little winches that go on here, the bollards, a lot of pieces for this section. So this will be some pretty good detail. We have our anchor that all goes up here. That reminded me I have to grab them to paint as well. So I'm going to get that stuff all ready and painted before we really do anything else with this. But yeah, there we go. So that's going to sit for a little bit, and we will be back. Okay, so this has gotten nice and solid, and pretty good and flat all in all, so I'm happy. So first steps, just like the poop deck, are going to be our bollards. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 of them off. 1, 2, make it 4 to start. And then I'll drop them. Okay. Alright, so there we got those. Okay, so I got the bollards glued on and installed, and now we're going to start with these. So I got one already on. This was that one that I cut off on the previous video. and realized that it was for the bow, not the stern. But the rest of them are right here, so we're just going to cut them out quick and get them glued on. Now, these are very thin and brittle. Just FYI, I know I might have covered that on the stern section, but I'll just throw out that reminder. They are definitely on the brittle side, so be very careful when cutting them. Don't try to snap them with a nipper. They will break for sure. So highly recommend one of these. You'll be happier in life. It doesn't take that much longer to do it right. But I've seen some people with, not China 3D, but 3D in general, that just think that you can snap it off and it'll come right off, and no, it does not work that way. It will break every time. So this one goes here. Now I do want to look at the directions again, because there's two different size bollards, and I want to make sure, so you got these bigger ones that are here, and then you got these smaller ones, and there's only 4 of the smaller ones, so I do believe they go in the well deck. So yeah, I'm going to say that these are bigger ones here. Yeah, it looks like they are. Okay, and so I need 4 more of them too, so I'll get them after I finish these here, just so I'm not putting too many different things out there at once. I'm going to assume, judging how the Forecastle is going so far, I mean, it's not going bad by any means, but I'm going to assume that this is going to probably also be a 2-video part till it's all said and done. So I'm not even going to pretend or imagine that I can do this in 1 video, because it just likely will not happen. So it has a little bit of a gap. It should be about there. Okay, I don't like how that is marked on the deck, because it doesn't really give a heck of a lot of good indication as to where it goes. So I'm hoping that's right. Has just a slight separation from where this goes, so if it's not, I mean, I can pull it back off fairly easy, but I'd rather just get it right the first time. I guess I could just take a piece of railing that goes there and check, because the railing has dips that go into it where these belong. So I may just do that quick, just so I know with certainty. Okay. So we're going to get this last one here glued on. Then we're going to glue on those last 4 bollards that I was showing. Then I'm going to go grab the railing quick and double check that. And then we'll put on our winches. So that is the plan. So we need 4 of these again. And these ones, no, you know what? I was gonna try to break them off with the nipper, but I've learned my lesson with that. Not a good idea. Okay. Dropped one. Okay, I'll find the one I dropped in a minute here. I'm just gonna cut another one for right now. I think. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's just glue these on quick. Then we also got to paint our capstans green. Okay. That's already starting to look like something, just having those few little pieces on here, so that's exciting. But now, in the meantime, I'm going to go grab our anchor pieces. I'm going to grab our part that goes here. I'm going to grab our winches I have, so they're right there. But first off, I want to go get that railing and make sure I have that right. So let me pause it and I will be right back. Okay, so here is our anchor setup, and what I'm going to do with this, because I'm going to paint it while it's still on the sprue, at least the first coat, but I'm going to go ahead and break off these protection points, I guess you would call them, just to make sure that I can get paint onto the sides there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and paint that, and that basically will sit right there. I mean, obviously off the sprue, and it sits a little bit forward and a little bit separated, but you get the idea. I got our winches here pretty much ready to go. I got to paint the gray around them there. And then we got our main cargo hatch here and ready. So that is painted. We're going to go ahead and cut that off now, and basically see how that fits over the hole. So for this, I am using the nippers a little bit, and then I will move into the hot knife. So these bottom supports I can pretty much just kind of start breaking away now that I'm separated from those little parts that could break easy. This front here, yeah, I gotta cut along here with our hot knife, and then the sides, I've seen many different pictures of this cargo hatch. Some are in the rust color or orange for the well deck, and others are in black. I'm personally in the opinion that this thing was black along the base edges here, and that is what color I'm going to be choosing for mine. So we're going to get cut away and separated a while. And I also need to see if I'm going to need to add any styrene onto here. You really couldn't tell when it was on these shipping sprues, so this will be kind of my first look to see where we actually stand. There's a lot of little support sprues on this, and essentially all that can come off. Now I also have these portholes up in here. I do believe they were lighted. I'm going to double check what I can find on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up lighting them, so we'll have to drill them through. Okay. We're almost there. Okay, for this last little bit, I'm going to use the hot knife just to make sure I don't lose my front part there, because it is quite brittle. And I just snapped the support, but I still have it here, so I can re-glue that on. So you can see how brittle this is, so I just recommend being extremely careful when working with this. Okay, so that kind of just sits right there. The fitment really is not bad. It's actually better than I expected it to be. So I may just run a piece of styrene along the very bottom of it to basically make sure that our light bleed doesn't happen. And then I'll probably do some 1 millimeter fiber optic on it, and I think we'll be all right. Just gotta fix that little piece that snapped. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and paint these a while and do the paint work on these, and then we have to get our plating that goes along here, because this would have been concrete. So we got that, and then we got this that's going to need to be painted, because that goes along here. And our anchors, we're using the B&B ones, so I won't be using these, but we got an anchor that goes here, and an anchor that goes back here. So yeah, I think my next step is going to be cutting that off, and I'm really debating how I want to do this, because I don't want to lose or damage these other pieces that are here, and they are quite small. So I think I'm just going to kind of cut it away. And good, that didn't break anything important. These are flexible, so that is a win. Yeah, because if worse comes to worse with this, I think I'm going to just paint it on a popsicle stick on its own and be done with it. That way I don't risk damaging any of these other little tiny pieces that are here that I will need later. Put that with that one, and then we'll cut out the rest of this with the hot knife. Okay. Giddy up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing some paint work, and after I get those painted up, I will be back and we will continue on our building. Okay, so here are my anchor chains. I did do this in black initially and then went over it with green, which from what I'm seeing is the most accurate color at this point for what it should have been. The top of the windlasses would be brass, so I'm just going to brush paint that on, kind of dry brushing it, sorta. Obviously I don't want to get down into the cracks and the crevices inside here, so just very light paint. And I don't want it to be like bright shiny brass either, so just kind of doing light coat on it, so it'll be enough to get that brass look. Okay, let me do the other one. Then we're going to paint the anchor chains. Now the valves should be green handled, and I might hit this depending on how it looks. Once I get the anchor chains painted black, I may do a very light wash on it just to pop some of the detail a little bit more. But we'll determine that once I kind of see it completed. Alright, so there's that. I also got the top deck, or the main cargo hatch, the black painted here, so that's that. And we got our capstans to paint in brass, so we'll do that quick. These I'm going a little bit more of a strong brass on. It might take me 2 coats to get it, but I will end up weathering them. I just want to have a initial base of brass on it. And again, I'm using a different green on the winches and the anchor set versus the the capstans and the anchor set versus the winches. So that is a slightly brighter green for the winches. So there's the first coat on there. We're gonna let that dry for a minute, and then we'll hit that again. So next, while I'm waiting for that to kind of dry up, I'm gonna hit my winch drums with some NATO black, and I'm also going to do the anchor chain in NATO black. There's a lot of pieces on this front here, so taking the time to get them right is quite important. The detail work on these anchor chains from China 3D is absolutely fantastic. Just want to mention that. I had initially bought chain, I think on eBay, that I planned to use, that was the barred chain, meaning that it had the bar in the center of the link. But these are just so well detailed that I'm not going to bother to use them. I might have to go back in and touch up a little bit of the green, but I don't think so too much. It's actually going on quite well with no real issue. Okay. The tricky part is going to be to get around this windlass without getting any black paint where I don't want it. Actually, it's not going bad. Okay. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and paint up the other side here. Gonna do the winch drums real quick. I gotta get a new bottle of NATO Black out because this one is halfway dried out and it's not really covering right, so we're gonna call that one quits and open a new one quick. But I'm going to go ahead and pause this and finish up painting those pieces quick, and then we'll be back. Okay, so these are painted, the anchors, and I think they came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. They look nice. Everything is good. So happy with that. We got our winches. They're about ready. So all three of them. And there's actually more it'll go to. Our capstans are drying. I'm still probably going to do one more coat of brass on there just to get better coverage, but there they are. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to do a piece of brass I already painted up. It's the plating that goes right here, which they would have been concrete, so they are painted in a gray. So let me grab that a second. Alright, so here they are. So we got this real nice big piece right here, and that is what our steam winch will attach to, basically, for a base. So I want to be careful that I don't scratch the paint at all, because I got a really nice finish overall on this with the airbrush, and until I get the clear coat sprayed on here, the paint is extremely vulnerable to scratching. So just got to be careful with it, and yeah, we'll get it glued down and get our winches on first. Okay, still stuck right there. So we got that one just about off. There we go. Okay, and for this gray, I just went with Curtis Gray from Vallejo, so works well. I like it. I think it has kind of a concrete-ish look. Alright, so we're going to take our bow here and just kind of size that on there. Alright. Now, the one thing kind of thinking here right now is, do I drill out that hole yet or not for the mast? I'm kind of thinking yes, so I'm gonna mark my spot here. Well, that made that easy. I don't really have to drill. Okay, well, that's good. I did break my pencil point though, unfortunately. Oh well. Alright, so I'm gonna get some glue, CA glue. And I'm just going to dip it in. I mean, this is a fairly large piece, so should not be too much of an issue. And I just want to put a little bit through here where I dipped. Spread it around a little bit. Okay. So, gonna line it up with that deck line right there. And we are on. Okay, now this here goes here, so we'll put that guy on here in a second. I'm just kind of sizing up first, making sure everything kind of fits right. Then I'll glue down. They go that way. Yeah. Okay, it's starting to look like something. So I'm going to put the winches on first. Sorry if I'm off camera. Okay. They do give the little indent there. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can on the camera, but the little indent there for where the winch belongs. So obviously I'm using that kind of as a guide. Okay, I like them. I think they came out good. Now, I want to double check. Nope, it can't be that way. It has to be this way. I was going to say I wanted to double check which direction this went, but it really can only go one way. There we go. First shot, we got her. Just holding it down a second to make sure it kind of stays on right. All right. Yay. So that guy goes right there. We'll put him on in a minute here. Okay, this is starting to look Titanic-ish. So I'm going to paint these again. I'm going to go ahead and put my crane bases on and get them ready to go. And I'm going to put at least one of my cargo hatches on. I do believe I'm going to turn this into a charging port. Either this one, I'm probably actually going to go with this one. It's a little bit smaller, and looking at like a phone charger port. Yeah, this is gonna be the one I'm gonna use. So I can go ahead and I got to do the same thing I did in the stern, because I had already attached my scale decks before I realized I had to cut them out, so my mistake there. But I'm gonna have to cut them off and then put my my hatch covers on, and then obviously cut these out and get them ready to go. So yeah, I'll put the video back on for cutting these because they look somewhat tricky, so it might be a good video. At least I'll do one of them on the video. So we'll do that here shortly. Let me go ahead and paint that and get those attached. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I got our capstans on. Yeah, I got our this on, our cargo hatch. So next up, we're going to go ahead and cut out our anchor parts here. So what I'm going to do for these is cut in half first from that support. Sorry if I'm not on the camera. Okay. Now, just basically going to, I guess, cut the front first. And I'm going a little slow on it because I don't want it to break. It is fairly brittle. Just kind of doing a nice even cut. Okay, and then we'll clean up the bottom here after after I get the back part cut off. And I snapped a piece. Shoot. Okay. The small part I broke off, not a big deal. Be able to glue it right back on. Now just want to clean up the bottom here so it has a good place to adhere to the deck. Now that little part right there would protrude into the deck, so you gotta find the actual location in the deck and then poke a little hole there. There we go, that's about it. So I want to keep that there so I don't lose it. Okay, so basically goes about there. I'll make sure that we're dead on here in a minute, but yeah, I'm liking the green. The green has a cool look to it. So I don't do the same thing with this one. Actually, that's a separate piece, so I didn't break anything off. Good. I didn't realize that. Okay. Now before I go and glue it down, I do want to just take a double check at some reference pictures, just so I have it dead on to where it goes. So I'll pause the video for that here in a second to go check that out, and then I'll come back and we'll glue these down. That landed on my shirt. I'm gonna pause it and get that so I don't lose it, and I'll be back. Okay, so a quick note on the windlasses and anchor setup and all that good stuff. The bollards need to be moved over slightly from where they belong, otherwise you're not going to fit in here properly, as well as these cap stands. So I essentially just moved them over so that they were covering the hole that is there for the kit one, and this is because the kit ones would come back to about here. So these are shorter, being more accurate to what they actually are. Now we have these little gearboxes that go back here, so we're going to put them on, or at least put the one on right now. I have the other one drying right now because I had to repaint it after cutting it off the sprue. But yeah, I'll just put that one on real quick, and then I also went ahead and cut out this cargo hatch cover and got it glued on. I'm holding on the second one only because I want to determine what I'm doing from a electrical standpoint before I go and set that. So there we go, that one's on. Next up, we have a whole lot of wheel controls that control the cap stands and all that good stuff that go back here. So we're gonna start to get them prepped to go. So let me get them around, get them painted up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so right now I am doing my breakwaters, and basically they're just painted, and then the black stanchions are painted, and once that dries, this wraps around on that, and then it gets glued down to the bow. I also did some weathering on the forecastle, so it actually looks quite good in person. I don't know how good it looks on the video, but when you hold it up to the weathered deck, it actually looks really good, so I'm pretty happy with that. I also went ahead and put the phones on right there, and then the valves and the catwalks up here. I also got the anchor here, and that will go right in there. Still got to paint the tip up there, but I'm still figuring out my mounting on the bottom here, so more to come on that. But anyway, there we are. Okay, so first breakwater is on. As you can see, it's pretty solid. So here's what I did. Basically just kind of put a blob of CA there, and then I'm going to run my breakwater right through it to get it on the bottom, and then I want to also get it on the side where it meets the cargo hatch, and it's simply just lining it up, dropping it on. Okay, let it sit for a moment. Then I'm going to take my toothpick, a little bit of glue on the ends here, and drop them straight down. Okay, 2 more to go, or 3, 2 to 3. Got a little dab of glue there, but that'll get hidden in the dull coat. Okay, that's it on that. Oh God, gonna have to touch up that. A little bit of glue stuck to my finger. And that's the worst thing to have happen on the scale deck. Okay, now I'm just gonna run some paint along the very top between the seam of the 2 pieces of brass here. Depending on what happens with that piece of deck there, I might have to have an officer or something standing on it. I'm trying to think what I'm going to do right now to repair that. Okay. Alright, there we go. So we got our breakwater on. Looks really good. Very happy with that. Just not happy with that green glue paint that I got on there, so I'll figure it out. But alright. I think I'm probably gonna go ahead and wrap it up at this point. Because I gotta experiment now with this and try to figure that out. And then next video we'll do our cargo cranes, all of our stuff down here on the well deck, get our anchor situated and all that kind of good stuff, and basically we'll be done with this section of the ship, so it'll be time to start onto the B deck. So moving along pretty good. I'm excited about where we're at, aside from that little piece there, but I'll fix that. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Please give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in to view, and hopefully here soon we're going to have a video with us putting the motors and all that good stuff in. I know that's been something all the way from video 2 that we've been kind of talking about and waiting on, but it will come, I promise. So anyway, we will see you next time, and thank you very much for tuning in.